Hello and welcome back to the Friday Feels episode of the UA podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. So good to be back here with you, Jordana. It's especially good to be back here with one of our first guests on the show ever, Whitney Cummings. Thank you for coming on the show.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't there.
That's the only
why.
episode he's ever missed.
That's the only one I ever missed.
What was the story there? What better did you have to do than meet
fuck
me?
that bitch, and I don't want to go
Fair.
on with her,
Fair.
and I don't agree with her.
That seems like a pretty specific criticism.
Yeah, that was it.
No, you regretted it so much
I
that you
did.
never missed another episode.
Not one ever again.
Yes.
Yeah, I said never again. This is never.
Yeah,
So.
this was like I think this was 2017. We were promoting your movie.
Oh, whoa.
Yes. And it
You
was a
had
great
to do
conversation.
it at a certain time,
Yes.
I think it was like, with the movie promotion, all the scheduling.
Okay, yeah. It's like,
And-
well,
The
no.
female brain. Yes.
Yes, and I think you come and you do like a couple in a row, or it's like a whole rigmarole of like Tetris to get everything done.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that was the one I missed. So
Well,
this is the first time we've met.
You're back, and you somehow look better than you did 8 years ago.
That's so
Very
nice.
impressive.
I have just been in 2 hours of hair and makeup. Covered in caulk and grout, truly right now. I'm going to the Freaky Friday premiere after this. Not that I wouldn't make myself like turn into the Little Mermaid for your podcast, but thank you. Do you want me to keep? I'm so
Keep
worried.
going, yeah. You're the
there's
guest.
something going
It's about
on
you.
where. Do you ever like have an epiphany that everybody else had like 20 years ago? Like my new one is like, do I talk too much? Everyone's like, I'm like, I'm starting to feel like I like talk too much. Everyone's like, the other day I was like, do I interrupt? My boyfriend was like, excuse me?
Right.
It's like I literally have to like bob and weave to try to get in between.
I think it's a good thing to realize while sitting in your own mansion. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you go, oh, wait a minute, like, I got you here.
It gets tricky
Right.
because then
Yeah.
you're
It's
kind
too
of
late
like,
now.
I kind of paid for my house in cash by running my mouth. But
Right.
but how much bigger would it be if I could just shut up every now and then?
I don't think I think that's, if you were under a bridge going, do I talk too much?
I don't-
We go,
maybe it helped.
we've been
That's a good
trying
point.
to tell you.
I think, and I'm not judging anybody, I'm sure I'll do it again, but I stopped getting Botox. And I think I look better.
Good for you.
I think that at this
How long
point,
ago?
3 years.
3 years. What made you decide to stop?
Well, having a child. So I went
Okay.
in when I was 6 months pregnant to go get, well, here's the other thing with Botox. I was like tracking my like journey with it where I was like, okay, a network executive told me to get it because I looked tired, even though all the guys on the show looked like Steve Buscemi, fine. And first of all, I was tired.
Shout
Does
out to
anyone
Steve.
want any character on TV to not look a little bit tired? Every character in every TV show and movie is like dealing with some stressful thing and they can't sleep. And then they're just like, look so rested. I was like, I feel like this, and so an executive told me I needed to get Botox because I looked tired. And then I went into the dermatologist and they're like, oh, it's just preventative.
How old were you?
28?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also-
28. How does it get to you? We were just talking about you look tired being like
The worst thing you could say to a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
And men say it a lot. And I was kind of saying that I don't think we realize like the gravity of you look tired.
Well, also, I would hope so. Only psychopaths and sociopaths that lack empathy are who just goes to bed at night like falls asleep.
Right.
With everything
Right.
going on in the world, I would hope that you like stay up, I hope you're losing sleep over what's going on in the world.
Right.
Like we're at war. Does war just put you to sleep? Just like, I don't know.
Depends on what sleep sounds you listen
Yeah.
to.
Yes.
But I like,
So you're
I
saying the
think
worst compliment is you look tired?
it's not even a comment.
No.
I don't
It's
think
the
they
worst
mean-
thing you
I
can
don't think
say.
they mean for it to be as mean as it sounds.
Huh.
Yeah. I think,
But it is weird to have that.
because it means, I think it's like, it feels like it's socially acceptable to say, but it means you look like shit. Mm-hmm. I think. When
I
someone says
love
it.
these like sort of covert insults, like your top is so fun. I love a
Interesting.
weird backhanded compliment because you look tired is under the guise of like I care about you,
Right.
but I gotta say the only thing worse is when someone tells you they're tired.
Yeah, I don't want to. That.
I don't need like
'Cause
the
everyone's
tired theater. Right.
A tired off.
Well, I think as a comedian,
Tired off.
Yeah, you as a comedian, you probably after shows. I think we become like sommeliers for bad compliments.
That's funny. Oh,
Like we get the range of avoiding saying I had a fun time.
Sure.
After a show.
Oh.
Like if I bomb and I have someone come, the place was really, listening. Like what?
it's more even if you do well. Like tough crowd. You're like, were they?
Right. I hate that.
Hey, you're too smart for them.
Right. I hate that.
Yeah.
I've never gotten that.
You're such a good writer. Such a good writer.
Never gotten that either. These are all things I've never gotten.
Whoa, comedy's it was hard,
Yeah,
huh?
comedy's hard. I've
Hard,
gotten
weird
that.
crowd.
Yeah.
Mark Maron, I'm talking directly to you. You'll come off stage doing like great, and he's like, they're weird. I'm like, no, don't do this. It's taken me 20 years to be like, no,
right?
They weren't weird.
But we kind of get like that. Like I feel like over the years you get like so
you
many of those. You look tired.
I get like, oh, I love that you don't care about your appearance. Oh, I love that you just like you're not trying to be glamorous.
Right. I've gotten that before. It's like, oh, you don't even wear any like makeup, or it's like, no, I'm wearing actually quite a bit of makeup.
Sherwin-Williams, number 42 shellac all
Seriously.
over my. But for men to say I love you without makeup, it's like, what? Like, do you even
I'm
know?
wearing so much makeup.
Why even go the lengths?
They only think it's if you don't have like blue eyeshadow. They're like, I love you without makeup. It's like, what are you? I'm wearing someone else's hair on my head.
Right. Well, why not just say like I've kind of just you look great. Like that's such a simple thing.
You look great.
That you
More
look
people
great
should
is so
just say,
simple.
You look great.
And it's like it leaves out so much chance taking. You know, like you look fantastic.
Yeah,
Good to
I
see
love
you.
this on you.
Yeah.
You look tired. Why? I'm obsessed with like mean girl backhanded compliments because I'm obsessed with the fact that, and as you get older, like as friendships change and becoming a mom, like as you only have so little time and you really kind of find out who your friends are when you have like such a limited capacity to hang out or whatever.
Right.
And you can no longer like be a transaction for people because you truly have nothing to give or offer. Like I'm not like, shooting something right now and you're like, oh, who's showing up, who's not, whatever. And when it took me a while to explain this because someone was talking about how like Blake Lively's like, someone's like, she's a mean girl. She's not a girl's girl. And I was talking to my boyfriend about it because he was like, well, she seems so nice. And I was like, interesting. Usually mean girls come off really nice, like saccharine and fake. It's like, I love your top. Oh my God, you look at me. And then girls are like, this isn't working. Like you're a girl's girl. We started the show and you're like, get that thing off your lip. Like girls come off bitchy.
Yes.
So my boyfriend's still trying to figure it out because I have a girlfriend who would just be like, hey, you can't wear that. And he's like, she's kind of mean, right? I'm like, no, that's my dog. Like that's actually love.
I don't think men understand the nuances of like the different parts of conversations that actually like mean something else than they do. That's why they like just like a generally nice person because they just don't understand that doesn't mean anything.
Like, and then you and your guy, like you and your husband will go on a double date and then the girl's like nasty the whole time and you get in the car and they're like, that went great. And I'm like, no, what? She was being so rude the entire time. She was negging me. You're like, oh, that seemed to go great. Like, I think guys don't.
Well, that's why these dating shows, the men just get obliterated. Because like
they don't know how to interact.
Right. The women have been having these 10-level depthy conversations.
6 steps ahead.
Right.
I'll do you
they've
one
been
better.
doing that. Go ahead.
They have Botox.
And you can't see how they're reacting.
That's the thing. I also not only, people are like, oh my God, you look so much younger without Botox. I'm like, I don't know if it's just that wrinkles are a sign of youth at this point because like kids have wrinkles. In your 20s, you have wrinkles. Or if it's just like the shiny face because when you get Botox, you just get shine face a little bit.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, it
it
looks a little more plasticky.
It's a little more plastic when you just
pop it.
But also, I think I've gotten younger and less stressed out because people actually understand me. I used to have this thing where I was like, no, I'm not. Why do you think I'm mad? I'm not mad. Like when your face is frozen, you actually can't communicate very well.
Right.
And I feel like I'm in the best relationship I've ever been in because I don't feel like I have to repeat myself 16 times. And I'm like, why don't you understand me? Because he can actually read my micro expressions.
That's amazing.
And it feels so unfair on these dating shows that all these girls are stone faced and the guys are just like, they already have a hard enough time reading micro expressions.
Right.
That's what the female brain movie that I was making was about.
Yes.
And now they have to like subtitle their face and they're not going to tell the truth.
I remember this in the female brain. You were talking about how like women are sort of wired to be like always observing and like seeing and kind of looking out for what
Threats.
could go wrong, right? Like threats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, potential threats because we were always pregnant and we were just always getting raped.
So
Till like
what a life.
Till like 3 years ago. I mean, like truly, like in the 80s, like there was the only kind of sex was non-consensual until like very recently, I feel like.
this is usually a history podcast, but we have to go to the relationship stuff.
History vaginas, like history hyenas, but the girl version.
I wanted to say, so your assistant came in here and told us that you're very into like holistic, like vitamins. Living forever. Is this true?
Saboteur.
Is this? But
See, not a girl's girl.
But but this goes into the Botox conversation. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that like the vitamin stuff, like is that the route you're taking?
Here's
as
the
far
reason that she thinks this.
Okay.
I do buy a lot of it. I'm very into placebo effect. If I were to open a medical
believe it.
practice right now, it's more effective than the actual medication. They say it's like 60% effective, the placebo effect. And I buy a lot of it. I have it. It doesn't always get down the gullet.
Okay.
I don't actually take it, but knowing it's there and knowing that I might at some point. I also think that when they go like, oh, the person that took this much, vitamin B12 was healthier. The kind of person who buys it and takes it, even if it doesn't work, is also the kind of person who's trying to sleep 8 hours, who's living more healthily in general.
This is my dad's theory on Ozempic.
Not causation.
My dad believes Ozempic doesn't really work. It's just people that are trying now.
Then why are people going blind?
I listen. This is my dad.
I think Ozempic definitely works.
I agree with you.
I like your dad.
That's
we're going to get along just fine.
Yeah, you guys would get along.
I took Ozempic
swimmingly.
one time during the pandemic and puked for a week.
Why would you take Ozempic?
Well, what it does. Well, this was like during the pandemic. I don't know. I was
Just
like
for fun.
A lot of rosé all day. That's when you really put on weight, like wine. Like it's like Botox for your stomach, basically. I think that's what it does.
Really?
Isn't that basically what Ozempic is? Yeah, it makes it so you can't digest, like so you're
not
don't have
hungry.
an appetite. Yeah,
Right.
I puked for days after taking Ozempic. It makes you like not have an appetite.
Both my parents are on it.
I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm on metformin, which is like the OG version.
I'm on metformin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's
twins.
why you're so
Look at that.
glowy.
Look at that.
What is that?
Is this who care? Google it.
Yeah.
Google it. Why did?
People know.
Here's the other
This is
thing
why
about
people listen to a podcast. They want to hear us hang.
they want to hear people that aren't doctors explain of pharmaceutical drugs.
I mean, you don't
We're
have
not.
to
We're
explain
only.
it.
We're,
You're
like
not
to
telling
say,
people to take it.
We're
But
saying
I'm not
our
gonna-
own experiences, right?
Yeah.
Not you should.
Yeah.
No, you
no,
should.
it's more. No, you.
Yeah.
By the way, you should. You absolutely
Never
should.
mind.
Everyone
Never mind.
should
Yeah.
take metformin.
Okay.
Well,
we should
there's-
move on to telling them how to do their dating life.
Well,
instead.
they're also saying that like insurance companies are going to like require people to take it because it's a diabetes medication where the side effect is that you had like half the incidences of cancer.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm on
But
it.
also the kind of person that goes and signs up for a study to take a pill,
Right.
they're probably not flying on a lot of planes
Can
either.
we
So
prove-
maybe that's why they had half the incidence of cancer.
So, since the last time we saw you, you have a kid.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How old is he?
Year and a half.
A year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how did he come to be?
So
When a man and a woman love each other very much.
Well, I think you have an interesting story.
Weed
Sorry,
became,
right?
Yeah.
weed became
Yeah.
legal in California,
Yeah.
and the long story boring was kind of I spent most of my I think pivotal childbearing years taking care of my parents. It's interesting because people are always like, "Don't you want to be a mom? Don't you want to be a mom?" And I was like, "No, I'm not ready to be a mom," or I didn't think, but I was mothering my parents.
Okay.
So, and rescuing dogs. You guys probably see I'm rescuing pit bull. Like I'm doing all these really maternal things, like raising adult comedians,
Right.
breastfeeding Bobby Lee, whatever. And in my brain, I was like, oh, I just don't have time. I'm not ready. I also equated having a kid with finding my husband.
Right.
And
which a lot of women do.
I think
Yeah.
most probably.
Yeah.
The Order got me. The Order just got me. It was like, the sitcom that I made for NBC was all about like a role reversal, gender reversal of a girl that was too afraid of getting married because she saw so much divorce. That was, kind of the conceit. And I was just like, I don't like, or I'd go, this guy's a husband, he's not a father. He's a father, he's not a husband. Like I couldn't kind of, and then I had this really emotionally dyslexic, whatever it is. I know it's going to be like idiosyncratic. But I was like, how can I possibly marry a man if I haven't seen him with a kid? Like I can't,
Right.
I need to see the kid. I need to see you with kids before I marry you. So like, that's just how my brain works. It's very like, whatever. I've been diagnosed with all the things, but like, I was like, how can I possibly have a kid with someone who's never raised a kid? Like, you're not gonna know what you're doing. Like, I just kind of
Right.
like, it was like very simple to me. And I was engaged and he was like awesome, but I have some kind of inability to let a tiny thing slide. And it's not in a negative way. It kind of makes me go, like, there's someone out there who's perfect for you who would not be annoyed by this. Because I kept hearing
This was
like,
your fiance at the time?
yes.
What,
or like
what was one thing?
it's like needing to be perfect for the person too. It's like, oh, I'm not perfect for you because that thing bothers me.
Okay.
It was like one little thing that was just
Would you
kind
call
of.
that picky?
I'm not. Am I picky? I don't think I'm picky. I think I lack the ability to be fake, and I can't lie to someone, and I don't want to be judgmental of them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
so you
I don't want you to feel
You
judged.
kind of feel similarly.
And I don't
think,
want
about
you
that.
to
Yeah.
change. Like you
Right.
shouldn't have to change for me. I've also
Right.
been in a 12-step program, Al-Anon, for almost 12 years now, which is about not trying to change a person. Like I truly grew up believing that you find someone that's like 80% there, and then you get that fixer upper, and then you just put the work into them and make them like the judgmental like God complex of that. It's like, I love you, now let's get to work. All right, let's change your the way you dress. Let's change the things you like. Let's get rid of some of your guy friends that are toxic, and let's get you into therapy and make you the what.
So you felt that was like a lie to like marry someone who was 80% there and then you fix it, or you?
I just like think it took me a second to realize, because I had such like intense like love addiction and so much sort of a need to rescue someone. Like if I felt someone would like fall apart without me in their life, like I had just like the codependent thing. Like we have to be like entrenched, and like I was addicted to adrenaline, and I preferred being with someone that wasn't compatible, because then you have the adrenaline and you can fight, and that's what I saw growing up. I thought that was love, And my sponsor said to me at one point, she was like, "Oh, this," because I was like, I would get bored if someone was too nice, or if things were like peaceful and we got along. And she was like, "Oh, this is your problem, is you conflate boredom and serenity." And it took me a minute to be like, oh, like the idea of just like being peaceful with a person and coexisting. Like I thought relationships had to be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do we have to fix? Like I just thought it always is. And I got to get this lingerie. And every day I was auditioning for their approval. And I hated them for making me audition, but they weren't doing that. Like I just thought I had to on a daily basis. And it is what it is. I was like trying to date my dad. I was like, what am I doing? Like this spell that I have. And there's a point where someone said, they're like, do you want to be with your dad? And I was like, ugh, but I was recreating my childhood circumstances by picking people that I had to chase or fix or rescue, or in order to feel any kind of self-esteem, they needed to need me. Like, I didn't even realize like how toxic, and look, we all do stuff like that in our 20s, fine. It's also like fun and exciting, but that's just adrenaline turns into dopamine. So that was just the addict brain. And so it took me a long time to kind of get out of that. Okay. My number one relationship advice for anyone is get your parents' health insurance. I'm like not even kidding, because you could meet the love of your life and one of your parents has a stroke and you have to deal with that, and you're not going to be able to nurture a relationship.
So what year was this?
Why do men have to do this?
Well, because
how many years ago?
When
I have to do math on your show.
You have a 1.5-year-old kid. You're engaged.
Yeah, you spell the show "you" up with a U. You guys can't even spell.
We can't spell.
So why do I have to do math?
That's why we need you to do the math.
Yeah. So no. I got you. And I know I'm jumping around, but I wasn't just like, this guy's not good enough for me. It wasn't that at all.
Of course not.
However, my number 2 dating advice is freeze your eggs, because I did freeze my eggs when I was 32. I want to say I was in a trailer on a movie set with Dana Fox, an unbelievable writer. Google her. She's done all these amazing movies. Natasha Leggero was in there, and Jenny Slate was in there. And Dana was going through some fertilities. She had everything. She was writing big movies, and she had this amazing guy, and couldn't get it, just, and she looked at us. And I'm this kind of person, and I'm probably scary to people because of it, but I will just like freeze your eggs now. I will come in and
I have.
Yeah, exactly. Not to you. I mean, you've got your shit together.
I haven't done
it. Oh no,
yeah.
I will like corner.
Freeze your sperm.
Yeah, freeze my.
I will corner a 28-year-old in a nightclub and be like, "Have you frozen your eggs?" Like, I don't do it to functioning, people with their shit together. But it's like, what is this purse? Why are you spending all this money on these stupid shoes? You're never like spend this, save your money, freeze your eggs, because I realized my bar was lowering and lowering. I was like, okay, chain wallet, it's fine. Let's say I hear him when he's coming.
Like TikTok.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd be like, okay, like fine. He loves fish. You know what?
I'll do a meal out of him.
Totally. Right. Yeah. And I just kind of was like, I would turn everything that didn't work about the person into me being too judgmental. Sometimes when you get into, there's such a thing as being like over therapized or over programmed to where you're like, I'll take responsibility for everything and be like overly accountable.
Right.
So that I can justify staying in something that actually doesn't work.
Lowering your standards.
And I'm lowering my standards, but I'm going, like, well, I just need to be less judgmental. I just need to be more patient. Like, well, I'm just being so needy. He hasn't texted me back in 2 weeks, but like, I'm just being needy. Instead of like, that's not okay. Like, I also was, because I had such, I don't like the word intimacy issues, and I don't like all this, like, you're avoidant, your attachment style is this and this. And it's like, I think a lot of people use them excuses for just being an asshole. Like people are rude and they're like, sorry, I'm autistic. I'm like, no, you're just a dick. You don't get to use a medical diagnosis to like make an excuse for your terrible behavior.
People from New Jersey do that too.
Yeah, but they'll go, I'm from New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey.
That's what New Yorkers, that drives me nuts.
I'm
when
from
New York,
the East Coast. It's people do it
from New York.
It's like, no, you're an asshole who knows.
I'm bad at texting.
So everyone is.
Right, unless you care.
I'm bad at texting.
Yes.
I've fallen.
Have you said that?
I've fallen for it.
That's not true.
No, they're not bad at they're bad at texting you.
Oh.
Yeah.
But there are people that are bad at texting too. You're like, can you
are
reread
what you
it?
is. You are what you is.
But I'm also big on
you're
like,
as good as you were a year ago at texting. It doesn't change.
I'm big on like, do you need more time? There's 6 typos in that. Do you want to just respond when you're ready? I'm big on a do you need more time?
Yeah.
I like that.
Why did
Question
you rush
mark
me?
your own text?
Yeah, why am I reading hieroglyphics to try to figure out what you said? Well, I'm in the car driving. I didn't make you do that. Like, do you need more time? But so then by the time I got into this relationship, freezing my eggs helped me go, okay, I have another 10 years. Okay. But it also made me go like, I got all the time in the world, you know? So
isn't that good?
Yeah, yes,
right, yeah.
yes. And so I was like, I guess I'm just too picky. I guess I'm just now 39 years old. There's no man in sight. You know, my dad had died. Death is very clarifying, you know, and mom died. Fine. That's all done. I'm like, now what? And I met this guy.
So I have to ask.
Please.
You met this is like the part of the story we want. But your parents, did they live with you? Like, how were you taking care of your parents?
No, sorry. They're in nursing homes and
like financially taking care of them.
ICUs.
Were you financially? Yeah, like,
yeah. So my mom's
and, like,
in a
nearby. Like,
my mom's here, but you know, look, it's like this is too boring for everybody. Like, death is a whole other thing.
But what do you realize when they pass? Like, what do you said it's very clarifying. Like, do you see them? Like, what comes out
that you want
of
a family? Is that
it breaks the spell
of
your ancestral programming,
like
right?
needing to please them? Like, I just moved to Delray. Half hour from my parents. I do have that feeling of like they're considered in my decisions when I talk to women, when I talk to, they're considered. I call them, I was just on the phone with them like a day ago. I go, and the conversation ended with
they're together.
Oh yeah, speakerphone, screaming.
This is the whole thing.
Right, and
it's the trauma of your. I think that the worst trauma at the moment is parents who are still married.
Still married.
I'm truly not kidding. Everyone I know whose parents are still in love cannot get their shit together.
Yeah, I screamed at them. I go,
I love that.
I go, you're not my manager, and that was the end of the.
After years
call.
of
like they're asking me management, whether I've done things for my work. I was like, you have nothing to do with this.
But you can also just go, I'll let you know. Like
but I just had to get off the phone with them.
Totally.
You know,
I do have no idea what it's like to talk to 2 parents at the same time. So I should not weigh in on this, but I also think that it's taken me a long time to like realize that at that age, no one is changing.
Right. So what are your parents like? What are the things that you were doing for them?
Because the thing we can do to stop them from haunting us in our life is for us to change. Just go, thanks, love you. Like, they love you. That's what love looks like. And as someone that never had a parent who knew anything about me or wanted anything, I'm like, what? Your parents are like asking you questions about your life? That's like so cool, you know?
Your parents didn't ask about your life?
No, so my parents were divorced when I was very young and grew up in a dysfunctional, everyone has, alcoholic home. In order for alcoholism to be present, alcohol doesn't have to be present. I grew up around a lot of like cheating, infidelity, divorce, fighting, yelling, just all that, chaos. Adrenaline kind of thing. And I actually had to do like an adrenaline detox and like get sober off adrenaline because, you know, a lot of people, you know, little things like the first thing we ask in, if I'm going to sponsor someone in the 12-step program of Al-Anon, the first question I ask, and I'll just ask you, is if you have to be somewhere at 3:00 and it takes a half hour to be there, what time do you leave?
What time would I leave?
Is this
half hour to be there?
Yeah. And it's 3. And you have to be there at 3.
2:20.
Okay. That's not bad.
What's the right answer?
The right answer is more, you know, but a lot, if you're an adrenaline addict, you're going to say 3:30, right? Because then it's like, I gotta get it. It's like you're setting yourself up for a future supply of adrenaline. Like people that are late, that's all adrenaline addiction.
Right.
You know, that's all like, because you're not accounting for the fact that you'll probably have to go to the bathroom. There'll probably be traffic. You're going to have to you're not accounting for life to happen. So that's the addiction of magical thinking and delusions of grandeur of like, I'm going to make, you know, and then you get to justify being like, fuck, and then fighting with people in traffic when you never had to have any. And then you could go, the world's against me and life's happening to me.
Am I
and
an addict?
I'm a piece of shit in the center. Well, anyone that lives in New York, this is y'all's like kink. Anytime I go to New York, I'm just like, why am I on drugs? I didn't sign up to be on drugs. Like,
how do you get off of that adrenaline addict? How do you like...
Yeah, tell me, because
it's not easy.
Right at the airport time.
Well, at first it kind of starts with like, no, you were about to get there 3 hours early.
Well, that's just because I had nothing else to do.
Yeah. But also, getting there too early, that's a pathological fear sometimes and paranoia.
Those people are annoying also.
And a distrust and everything. I think it's always about the motive. It's always sort of about like knowing your motive and being clear on it. So codependence is like, being pathologically thoughtful, pathologically caretaking people. And it's very hard in relationships, to get back to what your viewers actually want to hear about, is when are you being codependent and when are you in love,
Right.
And I think that like I'm in a relationship now with somebody who my codependence just feels like love to him. It's not like scorekeeping. I'm not trying to control him. When your self-esteem is very low, which mine was before I went into this program, it's your self-esteem is basically has a linear relationship with how productive you can be to the person, and how much you can be needed by the person. How much can I give you? What can I provide for you, right? Because I'm not enough. And so I'm like fixing up their house, or I'm learning Spanish to fight with drug dealers, whatever, chaos. I thought that's what love was, just saving someone. But I can like get him stuff and run errands for him and like get him presents or whatever, and it doesn't feel like I'm trying to control him, make him owe me. I'm not keeping score, because a lot of times when someone gives you a present and you're just like, there's a
catch. Yeah.
There's a catch.
Yeah.
And then it's, well, yeah, I got
You're
you this
indebted.
thing, and
Yeah.
exactly. There are just those people who they're like keeping score with you, and him and I never keep score. And I didn't realize, to me, that's almost like my definition of love. Being able to love someone really hard, because that's just my nature. It's not going to change about me. I think the coolest thing that happens when you get a little bit older is like going, you know what? I actually don't want to change that about myself. We're in this culture now where we're all just like the mental health, and I'm going to change, and I'm going to edify myself.
Right.
And like some things about you are superpowers, and they're cool. You're just with the wrong person.
So you meet this guy after your parents pass away.
Yes.
How do you meet?
Okay, so
And this is your fiance.
You're 39.
Okay, so I love this. So the person I have a kid with is not who I'm with.
I know this.
Well,
Take us back to the first.
I know.
Take us back to
We skipped
to
a bit, yeah.
So just for all
the
the
baby daddy.
white trash till I die.
Yeah.
I found the arrangement that works for me, which
Sure.
is, I met this guy. He's 30 years old. I was just like, you have to be someone's dad. Like, he was the most magical.
How do you meet him?
He comes to one of my shows with a group of his friends.
Guy
What
friends?
city?
Guy. Oh no. A few, because then
Oh,
I
wow,
kept
a groupie.
going like, come to and
What's
then
the original city?
Raleigh, North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham.
One of my favorite towns.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It was probably Carrie Improv is my guess.
Love Raleigh.
Yeah, we love
Good
Raleigh.
nights.
We
He's
love
thir-
Raleigh.
You were
He's
at
30
the
years
club?
old.
I think I was at Carrie Improv.
The Improv, which is outside of town.
Yes, but I was doing a meet and greet, so that doesn't really add up. Here's
Not
how you
good
know I never
nights?
lie, because I'm like, am I lying?
You wouldn't be at a theater in Raleigh?
Do your fans want to hear this?
Focus,
Yeah.
yeah. Focus. Let's get back
But
to it.
comics, we will do this all day long.
Yes.
No,
When
but
two,
I'm
when two
wondering where
comedians
this-
who have never met each other start talking in an airport, they're just like, so when you were chipmunks and the
gotta rein
hyenas,
this- I gotta rein this in.
they just start saying
Yes.
words that
Right.
like make no sense. And so then he was just kind of like looking over and like awkward, and first of all,
During the meet and greet.
during the meet and greet, like his friend was trying to get a photo, like kind of like an annoying like girl or something, and I was just sort of like, is this your girlfriend? Like he was like embarrassed, but I just like, I don't even remember, because I just looked at him and I was like,
You zoned in. There was something.
very
there was-
attractive.
Yes, but there was just something about his essence and his energy. Like, we're comics, we perform. You just feel so much energy all the time. I'm
Okay.
not doing like I'm an empath or anything. There was something about
This
him.
happens in line at the meet and greet.
There was
There's
something-
that happens.
It was an enigma.
Yeah, you feel it. I've had this happen where then I'm like, I'll feel something, then I'll be like, I think they're gonna DM, and they'll end up DMing.
Interesting.
And I have this like sixth sense for that.
I didn't even think he was going to do that. It's like, maybe
you
it was
felt
just, I'm
something.
so used to like an energy that's not like parasitic, but people want something from you, as they
Right.
should. They're in a line to get a photo with you. I
Right.
want them to want that. But he like didn't. And he was just kind of like waiting for his friend. And he was like kind of dressed a little wild. And like, I could tell.
How was he dressed?
He is always ready to like, what would the word be, Pat? Like into combat? Like, he'll wear shoes that have lace, that are like boots. He wears boots.
Okay.
Oh, so you
This
went
is
real
how
white
bad.
trash.
This is how
A little bit tactical.
practical.
Yeah, okay.
There's pockets. There's like
Cargo pants.
So you
as I
went
say this, I'm like,
North Carolina.
I just saw a man that was useful and not
Yeah.
in flip flops, and I was like, "Can you please have my kid?"
Okay.
Yeah, he's got straps and there's like a Velcro around the boots like this far up his leg,
Right.
And then the pants have pockets and stuff, and that's just so hot to me.
Okay.
A
And
guy
you're like,
that's-
I need that.
Yes.
How do
And
you
it-
start talking to him?
I was just kind of like looking at him, and I was just like, "What are you doing?" Like, you're a meet and greet, you're kind of like on
Sure.
your highest, like just come off, and
It's another show.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, "Oh, you're not gonna get a picture?" I was just like being obnoxious, and
Right.
it's probably just like, "Why aren't you interested in me?" Now there's nothing more fascinating to me than someone like stalkers. I'm obsessed with the ones that I've had. I end up stalking them for years
Your own stalkers.
after they've given up
Reverse
on me.
stalk.
They're done with me, and I'm like, I just want to know everything about the kind of person that
Hey,
would be
the woman I'm stalking is stalking me.
like the
Can you
person that
put
would pick me. Like,
Yeah.
I
Isn't
want to
that
meet.
a relationship when two people are stalking each other?
Right.
kind of. I'm like, I want to meet your parent. Like, I have so many of all the people you could have picked. Like, you picked me. I had this happen when this is what I kind of like first was on like VH1, like nothing exciting. Also, the stalker was such low self-esteem that they picked the girl on VH1 that they could probably like go on a date with if they just found me in a
aim
coffee,
higher.
you
Right.
know? And this guy was calling me like obsessively 60 times a day. LAPD comes over. I have to keep him on the phone for 3 minutes. I don't know if that's still the case.
I thought that was like a movie thing.
No.
That's like a real thing.
That's a real thing.
Okay.
I don't know if it still is. I'm sure there's easier ways to find stalkers. This was probably like 15 years ago. And I pick up the phone, and he's like, "Hey, where have you been?" Like, "I'm at the Sony lot. Why aren't you here?" Like, something just totally insane. And I was like, "Oh, I'm on my way. Like, you're supposed to." And I'm like, "Yes, anding." I'm like, "Okay." Improv, whatever. And then I got panicked, and he got squirrely and like hung up the phone. And never heard from him again.
Stalker.
Yes. LAPD calls me a week later, and they're like, "Great news. Your stalker has moved on to another public figure." Because often it's about breaking.
dumped.
You
You got
turned him off.
ghosts.
He spoke to you for 3 minutes and he got turned off.
But I got thrown. I got thrown. I know, because I was like, well, I just want to let him know, like,
Hey,
I
cool.
got.
Nice to meet you.
I just
Very
want to be like, they
insulting,
told me
yeah.
for 3 minutes, and they kept distracting me. Like, I didn't give you my A game of like a chat of like.
Right.
I would have kept you into me, but it breaks the spell. I guess the whole point is like it's the fantasy,
Right.
And then once they actually
Give
meet
them a
you, it
taste.
kind of kills it. Yeah. And so. They were like, he's moved on to another public figure because it's just about fixations that they can never achieve.
Were you
And
jealous?
I was like, who is it? Like, just tell me. Like, and they're like, we can't tell you. I'm like, who is this bitch? Like, just tell me. And I went to his Instagram. I was like looking through at who he followed and like who he was like I was so obsessed with him for truly months.
Okay.
Yeah. So baby daddy.
We're all over the
Yeah,
place
yeah.
here.
Baby daddy.
It's fine.
Yes.
People,
You
if-
see him at
Yes.
the show. He won't talk to you.
He won't talk to me.
How do you
And then
talk
we
to him?
start doing this weird cat and mouse. Like, again, my parents were dying. Like, or my mom was dying. I was just in a wild place. And I was just like, so like, you're not going to come to the meet and greet? I'm like, all right, well, I'm in Wisconsin tomorrow. Maybe I'll see you there. Like, I was just throwing crazy shit out. It wasn't Wisconsin. It was Tulsa. And then I went to Tulsa and he was in the front row. And I was like,
Come on.
Swear to God.
So you get on stage in Tulsa. He's in the front row. What
Truly
do
in
you
the front
say?
row. And I was like, I just thought it was so ballsy and so funny. And I was so flustered and distracted the entire show.
Cool if you're cute.
And he,
Creepy
yeah,
if you're not.
yeah.
That is
I
the.
did say it. Do you know, if I want some creepy thing to go away, I know what to do with
Okay,
that. But
this you were-
I could tell he had
You're
like an
into it.
innocent
Right.
vibe to
You're
him.
presenting a little
Yeah,
bit.
and
Yeah.
I was the one that was driving it for
Okay.
sure. And then I like ignored him at that one, and I was just like didn't see him afterwards or something. And then I think he came to the next night because
Wow.
it was in Texas. It was like close, and he just like drove.
Do you have a job?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I can tell you. He works in a bank in North Carolina. He does IT. He's
Okay.
this like, brilliant brain, but he's very quiet and he's very the opposite of me. And I was just like,
Intrigued.
I just want to know everything about him. And then
Right.
it was like the next show. I was with Zayed, who was opening for me at the time. And I was like nervous. I was like, I'm going to go and talk to him. Like, what? Like I haven't felt that in so long. Just that like excitement of, I didn't Google him. I didn't know his name, because we now Google people. We see their exes. We
Right.
see their, oh God, he dated this person. You know everything about them. So there's just so I guess I just we like created this weird little video game or this weird 90s like vibe.
It's a
of-
cat and
Yeah,
mouse
it's a great
thing
story.
going
like we
on.
don't
Yeah.
know anything about each other. This is so weird.
Were you
By
a
the
When
way,
do you
little
finally
scared?
meet?
but you know what else is so funny about it? Is that whenever I tell someone the story and I'm like, and then he showed up in Tulsa, people are like, psycho. I'm like, before the internet, this is what you had to do to meet someone or see someone,
Right.
you know?
But the internet does exist right now.
But then it's also funny because people are like, oh, well, he thought a woman was funny. He must be sick. Must be mental. He's like a stalker. Can't he just be a comedy fan?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
the fact that
maybe he's just the biggest Whitney Cummings fan
why
of all time.
the
Right.
fact that a guy went to see a female comic, everyone's like, I don't know about this guy. There's something wrong with this guy. Definitely something wrong.
I think that says more about men. You know?
And so then I was just like so intrigued by him. He's younger. He's 30 now. And there was just, I guess, maybe it's because...
He's 30 now.
So he's 10 years younger?
31, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, math. Yes.
I
Yes, math elite.
Sorry to put things.
He's younger,
in
so I
numbers.
always was like, the older I get, and I don't think, I was just, my cousin was just here, she's 22, and I was like, I feel like when you're in your 20s, dating a little bit older is like, that's okay. Like, I'm kind of into that. But once you're like 35, 40, you're busy, you have the unique, honestly, the gift of age to me, not only like the wisdom you get, because intelligence is like whatever, everything you learn, we find out it's debunked 20 minutes later at this point. So what is intelligence even? Like wisdom that only comes with age, I'm obsessed with, but also nostalgia. It's something that you don't really get to have until you're older. And like, I did Roseanne, and I'm working on something that's a Lisa Frank thing. And comedy is really like giving people nostalgia. Like one of my favorite specials I did, it was called Jokes, but it's just kind of all about like, remember the toys we played with growing up. Remember the, Red Rover and lawn darts. And people are like, people lose their minds because you're giving them the drug of nostalgia.
Right.
It's the best drug there is. So the guy that I'm with now, we are the same age. And I didn't even realize like a lot of good chemistry is about like
remember when.
knowing the
The
same songs.
connection.
And sometimes words just fail. We talk for a living, but there's sometimes we're like, the scene in No Country for Old Men.
Right.
The scene in Joe Dirt, and like that, and you bond over that. Or like,
Right, and you bond over where you were when
so
you
tell
went
me,
and saw it.
it's been 5 years. Just say it.
It's been 5
It's been
years.
like, that's our favorite. Like anytime he says the beginning of a song, and that's our thing.
So this young guy that you meet in Raleigh,
He came to San Jose, and I think the first night, and then my mom went into hospice. And he was like, do you want me to go to your house and walk your dogs? And I was like, I know, I'll cry just thinking about it. He just knew exactly what to do. And
So do you want me to like fly to your house?
do you want me to go to your house and walk your dogs? Like that was like the first. And I was like, because that's exactly what I need. Like that was exactly what I needed, is like he just started going into problem solving mode. And I had been with someone when my dad was dying, and he's so great, but every time I had a problem, he just added more problems.
he didn't know how to handle it.
And it wasn't
Yeah.
his fault. It was just like, a friend of mine's dog had gotten attacked by a coyote, and his skin came off,
my
but the
God.
dog lived. And then I was like, and my friend's dog just got attacked by a coyote and the skin came off, and he went, that's called a degloving. I was like, that's not what I wanted to
Right,
hear.
I
I
didn't
just
need a
want someone
definition.
to be like,
Right.
Or when I was
Say
like,
ew.
or my dad,
Or I'm sorry, yeah.
just go, bleh, just being a
just
mature
do
adult
the
about it.
normal
bleh.
thing. Yeah, I don't need
And
a diagnosis.
and then I would say, like, my dad just had this, and has this much time left. And he'd be like, well, the good news is, and I'm like, can we just like cry? Like, and I just felt like I couldn't grieve. And that's what I needed. I was like, yes, can you go to my house and like do this thing and this thing? And then he just like was at my house, because you don't know what you're walking into,
Right.
So I had put her into hospice. Death is no one prepares you for like the gross, like you're changing diapers. I guess this is all to say, I got really lucky because I saw him behave in a time of crisis kind of right away. And don't they say before you marry someone, well, first go off birth control, see them in crisis, travel
Yes.
with them?
Go off birth control.
You do want to go off birth control because you smell pheromones differently when you're on birth control.
No, but I
I
understand.
didn't know
like
that.
if a woman like went off was like, I gotta go off birth control because I gotta make sure I like this guy. I think it would societally be okay if she was like, listen, I'm off the birth control. If a guy ever said that to a woman, like, hey, you went off the birth.
Well, your
you're not
version is
the
you
per-
go. I got let's go swimming.
Let's
I
go
got to see her
swimming?
without makeup on. Yeah.
Oh, I would. Really?
Yes, that's the whole thing. It's the first date. If he tries to take you swimming, he wants to see you without makeup.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, or hiking.
I didn't
You
know
want-
that.
I had no idea.
So then my mom is dying. This guy is literally in a house on the beach with my mom dying. It was supposed to, they were like, it's going to be about like 2 or 3 days. 18 days later, we're in this house. It's like, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Like a nightmare. I have family members. There's a lot of really tricky. He's just dealing with all the drama.
He's doing a great job.
But so calm.
Right.
I've never
He's
been
what you
around-
needed.
I don't think I've been around a lot of people, men either, that don't think that in order to make us feel loved, you have to show how hard it is on you or something. I don't know if we've trained you that, but like show that you're overwhelmed, or show there's this like new thing where we glorify being anxious, where everyone wants to tell everyone how anxious they are all the time as if that's going to fix it. Like everyone, he just was like, got it. There was just
doing.
He was just doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm that person in crisis where I don't need to advertise. I don't want pity. I don't want to, it makes everything take longer. It inflames everything. I had been living in hospitals for 10 years and played team sports. Like I'm just very surgical when it comes to like, this is, I think, what I would say about that other relationship you were asking that I didn't give a sufficient answer is more just like my philosophy is like, the hard things can be hard, but the easy things can't be hard. Once the easy things are hard, that's when you're like, this is like a nature thing. This is like, can we choreograph? And I find you two as well, like I'm such an independent person just because of what I grew up in and whatever. It's very hard to find someone that, because I am attracted to self-sufficient people, where we can help each other without getting in the way.
Okay.
I know this sounds weird, but like cook a meal with someone in a kitchen and see if you keep banging on each other. Do you know what I'm saying?
Was there a dance? Are you guys?
Are you simpatico?
Right.
And can you communicate in ways? So I was with a guy once who, was so helpful. And it was such a problem in the relationship because he also wasn't like communicative about it. So, volleyball, has anyone played volleyball? I think everyone should play volleyball.
I played volleyball.
Because you got to call. That's why you're so, that's not why you're successful, but a huge part of being able to, because you got to go, I got it, you got it. Like you have to say.
Communication.
Yes, because otherwise two people try to get it and then you bang heads. And like that is the
Right.
thing when people say relationships are about communication, I don't think it's like sitting down and literally talk through everything. Most of the shit that happens you should not bring to your person. Like I'm a big don't go to the problem for the solution. Like chances are the things I'm upset about have nothing to do with you and everything to do with like if it's hysterical, it's historical. Like let me just go for a walk and work out and eat something and like call a girlfriend because like you're not my girlfriend, like you're my boyfriend.
Right.
I shouldn't tell you any of this, but it's communicating in ways that are like, this guy was like, all right, I'll meet you in the car. I love a guy who's in the car, the AC's on, already ready. I'm gonna grab a couple things. And 20 minutes later, I was like, I can't find my laptop. He's like, oh, I grabbed it. And it was like, well, it's not helpful if you don't, I've been looking for it for 20 minutes.
Right.
But that was such a nice thing to do, but you didn't tell me. I know this might sound boring, but if I've learned anything, like this is the key, is like, if you're helping me and it's not helpful, or if I'm helping you and it's not helping, there's something off with the way we're wired.
So this guy that you brought home.
Dude, he was just like, here, in the backpack, and I got that thing, and I'll put this in the back. And I was just like,
months
you were
in
just
are
clicking.
you that he's at the hospice?
As soon as my mom dies, I was like, can I go off birth control? And whatever happens, happens. And he was
with
like,
this guy.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been together?
He was like,
at that point?
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
2 months.
And you're like, you are so useful that I can see you as a dad? Is that kind of,
you should be a dad. Like
and
you're
he
a
was up
dad.
for that?
I don't think you're my husband because I think you should.
This.
I think, was that?
You said, I don't think you're my husband.
Well, I said it in ways that were more like, I don't think you can tell someone something that they don't know yet. I think you have to prove it or let things happen that make it self-evident.
Is this you speaking kind of in retrospect? Like, are you saying this now?
No,
like
because I had to prove it to myself too.
Right, but you're dating 2 months and you're like, no birth control, let's go.
I was like, I've seen everything I needed to see.
And what's it? Where is he in life? What's he doing? Like, what's he doing for work?
He's
cross country. Like,
he's in another state.
What is he thinking?
Yeah, like what was his reaction to?
He was like,
let's see what happens.
He was like,
down?
He was like, we'll see. I mean, he probably thought she's 40. She probably can't get pregnant.
We'll see.
He was probably like, this is a pretty nice house. I don't know. He's looking into California state law.
Right.
It was probably a good retirement plan. And well, look, he's from North Carolina. 30 for him is like old to have a case. Like the only one of his friends that doesn't have a kid. You know?
You're 40 at the time.
I'm 39 at the time.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah. I'm 39 at the time. And then I was like, because also, here's the other thing. I don't think I was like explicitly like, I'm going to go off birth control to have a kid. I also, my mom died. I don't want to get too into this debate, especially with what's going on in the country politically. If you go on birth control, Godspeed. I'd been on it for a long time. My mom died and I couldn't cry. Were there no tears left? Were there whatever? We had a very bad relationship. Who cares? But I was just like, this is weird. And so I also was like, I want to go off all this stuff. Like I was
and you're like,
on.
I'm already off the Botox.
I'm already not.
So it's not
that wasn't yet. No, that wasn't yet. That was
okay.
actually. I should tell you the story because I did go in 6 months pregnant. And I was like, I need to get just around the eyes, little crow's feet or whatever. And they were like, oh well, you're pregnant. You can't get Botox. And I was like, It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. And he was like, no. There's this condition. It's called gray baby syndrome, where if a woman gets Botox while she's pregnant, the baby could come out gray.
Oh.
And I was
God.
like,
I didn't know
all right,
that.
So just like 5 units here, 5 units. Like I just didn't even. He's like, ma'am. And I was like,
Matches the house. I'm okay with
yeah,
that.
right.
I'll take a gray baby.
Yeah,
whatever.
no, I don't. Gray baby, fine, cool.
Yeah.
And so
I'll dye it.
yeah, exactly. It's fine. Yeah, I have makeup. We've got a great makeup artist. And so then I was like, I need to go off birth. I mean, I was in a manic. I mean, I've talked about this before. I had gone so crazy that Annie Letterman and Tim Dillon had to come over and do an intervention because they.
Jordana doesn't know those people, but I will say
I know
that
who
is.
they are.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say I know them, and I'm like, those are the two that I would invite last.
When they
Right.
come over and
Yeah.
say, we're worried about you, that's when
Right.
you take a good hard look in the mirror.
Right.
Because my parents were dying for so long that by the time it was done, I was just like, it's liberating in a way that you don't have to worry about them dying all the time. There's something kind of like the shoes dropped
Right.
and they were
I
can
suffering so
understand
much
that.
that I was just like, I had so much energy of like trying to do things that I hadn't been able to do because I was like, in hospitals. And I was just manic and I couldn't cry and I wouldn't take the time to cry. I didn't want to feel the discomfort. And so I was just and then I went off birth control and I had gone off Prozac, which isn't great. I'm on like a placebo dose, but
To have the baby, you went off?
no, just to go like, I want to feel
just
my
to be,
feelings
like,
because
off,
I was
okay.
like, I'm trying to outrun my
You wanna
feelings.
be numbed.
I'm smoking
Okay.
weed to not
and
feel
you're
the
like,
feelings.
let's see how quiet this Raleigh guy is.
I was-
I'm gonna give him the full Whitney experience.
I know, and I was
I don't know if
just.
he likes you for you.
Yeah.
I do think that there's some kind of, I do think that, I don't know if men do this, but I do know sometimes women subconsciously, I think it's our reptilian wiring where we do feel the need to test.
This is definitely a test.
I think it's called power struggle in like, I think Stan Tatkin writes about this or Harville Hendricks in Getting the Love You Want about like when you're really about to submit to somebody, when you're like about to move in together, you're like really, you are like your worst just to show like, are you still gonna fucking stay with me? But what if I'm like this? And what if I'm like this? And
Right.
let me see your, and you kind of like, another way to look at it, even though I hate this metaphor, is called the Nantucket sleigh ride, is like back in Nantucket when they would kill whales. A whale is, when you're harpooning it, it's most dangerous right before it's about to die because that's when its last like burst of
Flailing?
energy comes up, you know?
This is why people get crazy right before they get engaged.
It's kind of that.
Right.
It's kind. I think
Yeah.
it's sort of like. So I do feel like on some level I was thinking that about this man, and I did have to be like,
Let me see what I can get away
let
with.
me show you
Yeah.
all of me and
Yeah.
see if you can. It's. But I hate that. I hate that. Like if you
can't handle me
you're
at my
worst.
worst.
You don't deserve me at my
Right.
best. Marilyn Monroe was a mess. Like your best
Right.
was what?
Yeah.
Sleeping with 10 brothers simultaneously. Let's
Yeah.
just
if
not.
you can't handle me at my worst, you're probably pretty healthy.
Yeah. Exactly. You're probably smart.
Okay. And then you meet this other guy.
Chris Cobra Cole. So we had DM like a
What's
year.
his? Ooh.
His name is Chris Cole. He's
Okay.
a pro skater. I was just like, whether it's
Pro skater?
skateboarding.
Skateboarding.
His skateboarder.
Okay.
Pro skateboarder.
It's like Tony Hawk world.
Yes, but street skating.
What's the difference?
Tony Hawk does it on a
A half pipe.
half pipe. That's called vert skating. And then Chris does it on like stairs.
On like the regular streets of our,
Got it.
of our town.
Like,
Right.
which is like,
Yes.
it's like,
That's why I keep having to duck.
and by the
Okay.
way, when I asked my friend about Chris, Kevin Christie, super brilliant comedian, and I was like, I don't know anything about skating. I don't know what's happening. And like, I went to his Instagram. I didn't know he was like a super famous, like he's won the X Games, but like that, because how it's like as a comic, like if you're a good comic, like the funniest thing to post is you like bombing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, but he had on his Instagram just like him like falling, and I'm like, he must not be that good of a skateboarder, but I didn't know if you're really good that
Right.
you would actually show falling.
Right. If you
And
have confidence in what you do,
That's
right.
it.
You don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I called my friend Kevin. I was like, Chris Cole, like, what am I, like, I don't. That,
He DM'd you?
Yes, but she was like, oh, he's like the Dave Attell of skating.
So
I like
he's
needed like
the
a.
skateboarder.
Someone vouched
skateboarder.
for him.
And skating is very similar to
Right.
the comedy trajectory. I think it's very hard for us to find a vocation and a job that is similar to ours because it's very rare that someone loves our job as much as we do and has as much fun as we do, but also has can understand when things go wrong,
Right.
how crushing it is. They start making no money. They tour. They like hurt themselves until they get it right. They practice the same. It's very similar like mentality. So I'm like looking through my, and his photo's black and white, and everyone. I did a special for HBO, and I made the billboard black and white because it's so hard to get anyone's attention now. You actually have to go the other way. like with like posters and stuff.
Okay.
Right.
So it just instantly got my attention just because black and white. And I was like, oh, that's so weird. Like I did a thing that, like the little like
Spoke to you.
yeah, just kind of like was something in the back of my head that I'm interested when people go really simple and minimalist at a time where everything's so maximalist.
Okay.
And I was like, it's just ballsy. It's all right. And then I saw that he had like watched my story. I saw him like a couple times. I'm like, who is this guy? And then I went to his page. And I was like, his face is so just warm and I know nothing about skateboarding. And I think in my head, I was like, okay, so this will just be like a text fling. What am I going to like date a skateboarder? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
perfect.
Right.
Perfect distraction.
Perfect way to go into it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then I go to DM him and he had DM'd me about something because we both work with Liquid Death, And then I'm like, here's my number, just text me. And then I go to the text and we had texted like a year before. We had done this thing.
Oh, you already did
We
this.
had done
Wow.
the whole
You
thing
didn't remember?
already. No.
That's such a
Really?
good move.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
even, he's like,
I've
me
done that.
again. Just
Yeah.
like scroll up. And I was like, it was only
That puts you in a power position.
Does he have a kid?
2.
He's got two.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Did that help it?
Yes, hugely.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm
Right.
big on.
Well, now you know he can be.
I'm big on
Right.
date a guy with kids. Just date a guy with kids. Date people with kids. Like they
Right. Make sure they're divorced.
look, don't put a label on it.
Yeah, sorry,
You and your
sorry,
labels.
sorry, I'm such a
and
square.
Thank you. And so
Yeah.
it was just kind of like everything I guess someone would tell you not to do with your life. And I've never been happier. And I wouldn't have wanted to go any other way.
I love that. So your biggest advice for anyone listening who thinks they have to go the normal way, boyfriend, marriage, kids, whatever, are you kind of like, did
Know
you
your-
feel that way you felt that way before and then you didn't feel that way then?
I see all these people who are watching all these self-help podcasts and that are telling you how to live your life and here's how to live your life. Only you know what you need. Only you know what you're in. Like you have to figure out what works. It's the same thing with all the supplements and all the shit. And it's like, you need to eat this and this. It's like, no, everyone's body is totally different. Like you
Right.
need to know what works for you. You need to know what you need. So
Right.
Casey Wilson said something to me once. I don't need to say who the relationship was or whatever, but she was like, he kind of does this thing sometimes. Like, and she's like, I kind of need that. And it was something where I was like, wouldn't that be a red flag? And I was
Right.
like,
I would hate that. Right.
I would totally. And it was like, she knew that she needed something that isn't necessarily like a great thing, that not like really bad or anything. And same with my guy. I was like, a little bit of a messy, I kind of need that. Like
That's a
I
great
kind
point.
of, he lives, we're
Right.
kind of long distance. I'm like, I won't do long distance. And I'm like, he's 2 hours away. You know what? Anything you're like, I don't want that, that's what you are. And anything you resist too much, anything you hate, you become. Anything you hate, you secretly do. And I started realizing all the rules I had for someone or what I wanted was more about not pretending, judging the person I am. Like I would never do long distance and I would
Right.
never, and that's unhealthy. It's like, no, I need a little distance, and that's what's healthy for me.
Well, I think-
because if I'm not doing long distance, I don't trust them, and I'm like, well, if they're in a different place, they're going to cheat.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
not a healthy reason to not want long distance. He lives 2
Right.
hours away. It's like
It says more about you, anything you really hate, than it says about them.
I think for the three.
What do you
people-
really hate?
For the 3 people still
no,
listening.
I'm not doing that. By the way, this will be your highest rated podcast
actually
you have
think we've
ever
gotten a lot
you have
to
ever
here.
done.
Yeah.
I see why you guys are tuning into this episode because you know I'm going to have nuance and I am not going to let them
love it.
distill. They're not going to distill into
No.
so you're together or you're not together.
No,
like has that
that's-
worked for anyone?
But that's the takeaway I think of this whole conversation is like, it feels that you're very at peace with like letting go of all these rules that maybe your parents had for you or you were
you
not
need
gonna
rules
do.
when you feel unsafe and you're like, here's the thing, I tried it all. It just didn't work. You know, when people
Right.
start giving you advice, they're like, and then you need to put a label on it. And then he needs, and it's like, well, how's that working for you? You're single and 40. Why am I don't take advice from people about relationships that aren't in a relationship, that aren't married. He's comic relief at best. Okay. And so my thing is, I'm not
We'll
going
be
to
back in a year to check in
I'm
on
not
this
going to give
relationship.
advice about a marriage because it's not something I've wanted yet. And I have yet. It's not about what you want and it's about why you want it. So when I wanted to get married, it was like, well, I'm 38 and everyone's going to think I just got to get married because it's like, that's not the reason to want to do it. The
Right.
reason to want to do it, I'm not even kidding, is the tax write-off and the insurance benefits. So my guy and me now, I'm like, that would make so much sense. Am I doing it because I don't want people to think like, why isn't he married her yet? Why? Because I've all that ego-driven stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you
I'm
already
like-
have health insurance.
But also, by the way, if I need to marry him so my friends don't think I can't get him, I need new friends.
Right.
right.
You know what I
Well, that's
mean?
also like, that's for someone else then. That's not for you. You're not doing something
I'm
for
gonna
someone
do.
else. Right.
I'm obsessed with all the things we do at other people. Like when you see someone's selfie, you're like, who's that at? Who was that for? Like, you know, you
Right.
see a girlfriend selfie, you're like, oh, that's at her ex.
Who was that for?
That's
Yeah.
at her high school.
Who did you want to see
bully.
this Instagram story?
Yeah, who was
Yes.
this? Who was this for? Who was this
Right.
intended
Yes.
to hurt? You know, and when I go, am I doing something at other people or am I doing it? Am I like, I need you to say that we're boyfriend and girlfriend so you can go to this wedding with me this week? It's like, I'm doing it so I have a date. I just had so many bad motives for all of the things I was trying to like get with the socially acceptable chronological order so that people didn't think I was like crazy. And here's the great news. It's so liberating once people just already think you're crazy because you're just like, okay, you've
Right.
made up your
Right.
mind about me. Like I'm wild, I had blue hair, I did this, I do what I want to do. And I'm like, that's the goal. Right? All of Instagram is like this, and TikTok is like, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Don't live for other people's approval. And then we start being like, well, I need to get married so people approve of me. It's like, which is it? So I kind of am like, you know, I don't know the answer. And I'm just going to go like one day at a time and go like, what's the best decision for today? Instead of going like, who do I need to sign a contract
Right.
with the government?
But hold
Right.
on, would you call this guy your boyfriend?
Yes. He is my boy. He's my
Okay, okay.
lover.
We just need a label.
Lover, but I know what it's like to
episode.
need labels, and
Whitney
every time
Cummings has a boyfriend.
every time I
Okay.
had a label, it didn't work.
This is a very woo-woo perspective. I think it is.
Mine?
Yeah, I think it is.
Me?
Yeah, you're woo-woo. I think
Because
this,
she doesn't like labels?
Yeah, you've let go. I think that you're saying
Well,
let-
unconventional.
By the way,
You're-
of the
I think you
person I
should
was, of the
coin
person I
this.
was with for 2 months, what label could it be?
Right.
Well,
Well,
can-
I think
can I-
you've coined a term. Let them. That could be something you could.
There you go.
Do a book about.
You guys, I just trademarked a brand called Let Them. I'm going to experiment with saying it with a smile.
I think you should
instead
do
of
it.
just yelling
Put on
at
those
you.
glasses, and you'll be good to go.
But like, it's not that. My answer is I don't know, and I think that we all are under so much pressure to know everything all the time and be like so self-aware and so therapized and like know all the jar. It's like,
Right.
I don't know. I like him, but sometimes I don't. It's hard like to not need. I am someone who, and The Worm at the Core is a great book about terror management theory about like how we need labels and we're the only species that knows that we are going to die. So in order to manage our terror, it's like we make crests and we want trophies and we want plaques and like we want things. And I've always held on so tightly to like, I have a boyfriend, so I'm okay. Doesn't matter who
Right.
the boyfriend is or if, but like, I'm okay. Like I'm lovable. Like I was personally holding on to this stuff too tight. And it was like, holding me together so that when it would end, I would fall apart. And so it was like, what if he's not my boyfriend? What if we don't know? Who am I then? Am I unlovable? Do I hate myself? Like, why do I?
Right.
I'm
Right.
using
What's the
that
brand?
person for my self-esteem, and then I'm accusing them of being, how come you don't call me? Are you using me? Why won't you call me your girlfriend? Meanwhile, I'm using you to be my boyfriend because I need self-esteem.
It's like,
Right.
what do you need once you take away the ego of everything?
Yeah, because then it's like boyfriend, and then you're like, what's next? When are you gonna propose? It never ends.
Right.
And that's happiness is an inside job, and I was looking for external things to meet internal needs with those labels. Maybe you guys don't all do that. You know?
Right.
Everybody listening that's not from New York and LA, none of them think this is weird. This is every other place on the planet.
I think
Is
you're
it?
right. I
This
think
is
there's
most
some
people.
weird
I gotta get out there.
This is not New York. You guys with your, we get married and we got the New York Times
Right.
style section,
Yeah.
the blurb and the thing and the weddings. Like this is I'm from like Virginia, West Virginia. Nothing, this is like a normal trajectory.
Right.
Okay.
There's a lot of that. I'm seeing this in Delray Beach.
This is normal.
Yeah, you're meeting people. Everyone's got a story. Like I think like New York and LA. Like I've said this a few times. Just everyone's pursuing something, and then Delray. I'm noticing, and this is I think the rest of the country, like you're talking about, is like there's a story of what I've already done.
Well,
like where I've
okay, yeah,
already
because
been.
New York,
I had
LA is a
this-
bunch of people like coming up with fake stories about other like interesting lives, and in the other cities is people just living interesting lives.
Yeah.
like
Right.
we're in writers' rooms and as comics, like trying to cook up some interesting story about a fake character, whereas they are
Right.
them. You know, Del Rey. So you said everyone's got a story. See, you
Something's
equate
just
that as
happened.
baggage. My thing
I
is,
didn't say. Whoa, who said baggage?
you said you were like everyone's got a story.
Everyone has a story. I think everyone has baggage.
Well, what don't you want them to have a story?
What's your
What
baggage?
Do you want? What do you?
Everyone go say their baggage. What's your
Everyone
baggage?
say it on.
And how do
thing.
you meet people on like an app?
No, I've been getting introduced to people.
He's off the apps for
I'm
the
off
summer.
The apps for the
Okay.
summer.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
better than
summer
all these
rum
people on the
Springer?
apps. Yeah.
okay. You want to be introduced
I've gotten introduced to a few people.
Why
And
do
that's
you know
been-
anyone?
Yeah, you got.
in Delray Beach?
Yeah. Do you know any wolves down there?
Dude, can I tell you
How
something?
many horses?
This is the thing.
Yeah.
Start living your life for yourself, and that's where you're going to meet your person.
Right.
You're not going to meet your person at a bar. I'm sorry. If you have, you're like completely like, I think
You're the exception.
an anomaly. Like go volunteer at a wolf sanctuary. That's where your husband is. That's where I'm not kidding, dude. Go to a rescue shelter and go, if you, whatever your interests are, go hard in those directions. Because what we do when we're single is we go like, you know, like I'm gonna go to this bar and try to meet a man and he's really into hockey. Okay, now we go to, and I'm a hockey guy. And then you're stuck with watching hockey for the rest of your life.
Right.
So my thing is like, as soon as I started going like, I love horses. I want to be around them all the time. You go, if you're into horses, go to the local stable. That's where you're going to find the hot ass cowboy ranch hand you want to be with. Go do the things you're interested in instead of like, where could I meet guys? I should go to the baseball game. I'll meet guys. Like, then you're stuck going to fucking baseball games. So it's like, go do the things you love really hard. And that's where you're going to meet your person, I think. And that's where you're going to meet a like-minded person.
Right.
You know, post the
Right.
shit on your
already-
feed that is you,
Yeah.
so you attract the right person.
Well, already what you're also saying is like already have a full life that like you're not like looking for someone to be the missing piece that like completes it.
Yeah, yeah. Or just like, for me, it's like there's nothing more exhausting than like pretending and realizing, oh my God, I've been pretending for 6 months and now I can't go to another. Like, I just don't, I don't like watching tennis. It's a lot on the neck. It's just you're nodding no. Like the actual sport, I'm saying no to it, just watching it. Like there's things that I think in the beginning when you really like someone, it's like fun to like participate in their interests.
Right.
And you're so excited. And then you realize like, oh, we're completely different people, you know? But rapid fire, just like dating advice. Do you have any new good gleanings?
No. Do you like being a mom?
Yeah, it's so sick.
What's the favorite part?
It's so cool.
Yeah, what's the peak and pit? of being
It's
a mom?
really like,
What's the best and worst part?
And how do you deal with other moms?
Sorry, we
feel
just asked you
like-
4
I
questions.
don't
I know.
don't very often. Yeah.
I would wonder
no,
how
I'm kidding.
you do at like the mom
I like
stuff.
it. I can I have a very unhealthy yet useful ability to completely like disassociate and see a person as like I'm at the zoo and I can enter into their reality and go like, I'm gonna take this. And it's like in order for, you know, like art to imitate life, you have to have a life. So I will just go like, I'm writing a show. I need to write like I'm just gonna like I watch it as like entertainment. You know what I mean?
You mean
You're
your
watching,
kid?
like-
Yeah, when I'm talking to a mom,
Like a mom.
that's like
Oh.
a
Like
a
your wife-
nightmare.
you find it funny.
I'm just like collecting
Yeah.
intel, or I'm
Right.
like,
Okay.
sometimes. Do you ever get through things when you're just like, I'm gonna write a joke about
I'm
this?
just like watching, like I find a lot of fun in just watching someone freak out.
Me
Yeah,
too, or
yeah,
just like
yeah.
watching someone be like, and you're not, you're making your own almond butter, right? And I'm like,
Right,
yes,
right,
ma'am,
right,
I am.
right.
Like
And you
I'll just
kind of chameleon, and you go,
yeah,
that this person's a
and
crazy,
I'll just
but
go
let
like,
me
oh,
see
should
how
I?
this-
Why not? I'm not
Right.
gonna like argue with anybody,
Right.
but I'll just go with them. But to the point of before being tough and intimidating, I think me being pregnant like softened me a lot, and is part of the reason that the person I'm with wasn't like, who's this like scary stand-up comedian night. Like I was very like sort of just softer,
Right.
You know, and I needed help, and I think that I repel men sometimes because I need nothing, or I show my dad actually, who was not like, you know, an excellent father, but he did say something once that I really appreciated because I was like, and this guy, and he didn't do this, and I needed this, and he didn't. And he was like, you have to be careful about how independent you come off because it doesn't occur to people to help you. So we're so self-sufficient. I don't need anything. I don't want this guy to think I'm high maintenance, da, da, da. And then you actually need something and they're like, didn't even occur to them. You would need them to pick them. You know what I mean?
Right. And you expect them to know when you need something.
Totally.
Right.
Or you're just like, I don't even know how to ask. I'm embarrassed. I don't want to come off like weak or needy or whatever. You know, I think most men, like a couple of these women, I think give the rest of them a bad name. The ones that like Mercury's in retrograde is why they, those that are like
The woo-woos?
the high maintenance ones. I think most of us aren't. I think most of us are like, we don't want to come off too much. We don't want to put you out, and we don't ask. And then we kind of snap later being like, can you just do this one thing for me? And you're like, what? You know, I think it's actually like hyper independence.
Right.
In a way. I think actually, you know, and guys like, these bitches, like, they're so needy. And I think it's kind of the opposite now.
Yeah.
You guys, what do you do?
I
Why are-
agree. Does anyone need
Yeah,
you?
who are
No, I'm
these?
good.
Stop dating 23-year-olds.
You're right, I gotta stop.
That's it. You guys are just like, oh, and these girls are like, they can't pay their rent. I'm like, stop dating 23-year-olds. Like, stop
Yeah.
like, and we have to get Taylor Swift tickets. What? Date a woman your age, maybe.
Right,
And
or
you
maybe
don't-
they wanna be needed.
You won't have not.
Right.
Yeah.
Every guy I know that has like a problem with women is like dating 23-year-olds. I'm like, yeah, they have a roommate. Like, what?
Right.
They're in debt, of course,
Jared
you
dates olds.
I like an older woman.
What's that?
Yeah. Well, like 85,
How old are you? Am I allowed to ask?
I'm 40, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's tricky though, because if you're not ready to commit or don't really want like a family, I always go, do not date a woman in her 30s. Cause that's valuable time.
Right.
They're like, I said,
Cancel your date tonight.
Yeah,
it's like buying avocados. Like you can't just like waste that time
Right.
with a person.
Yeah, I try my best not to. But I
You're like, fuck, it's too late.
29 would be the youngest that I would date.
Okay. I like this. Oh, I have to leave.
You gotta go.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
so sorry.
let's
Everyone,
wrap. Okay.
Thank you.
This was great.
This
Thank
was
you so
great. I
much.
think this story is very inspiring for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
I, by the
and
way,
I think-
never told this story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Well,
We got to
thank you for
pitch this
telling
out
it.
to
Yeah.
some press.
I do think we're talking about relationship dating, but people want to hear the world is different now, and we're
Okay.
dating for a world that was our parents' world.
Yeah.
And I think you're
Yeah.
kind of like
You're
showing
doing it
that,
your
like,
way.
But you guys,
do it
I'm
your
normal.
way. Yeah, you're normal. That's what I'm saying.
So
Like,
people that are like, if half of marriages are ending, great, whatever. Like, it's like if half of planes crash, would you ever fly? Whatever, fine. I'm not anti-marriage at all. It's just a matter of like when and if. Also, get married and
like,
get
what's for you?
Also,
but
get
you're
married and get
living.
divorced.
You're
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but you're living. Like, you're not going. I think
You're doing what
just-
works for you.
I'm not going
like-
to do so. The number one thing that drives me nuts is going along with a bad plan or knowing something's not right and then being like, but we're 30, so.
Right.
What?
We're 30.
Would that ever hold up in court as like, but she's 30? Oh,
Right.
it's just like a crazy thing to me for that to like be the mic drop. And I don't want to ruin anyone's life and I don't want to make a mess. And if my gut is telling me something, it's taken me so long to like reconnect. Our gut, we know everything. If we
Right.
just listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everyone.
This
go.
was great. Thank
You
you
guys
so
can
much.
keep
Whitney,
talking
all
and
these
just go like,
things.
how the fuck are we
She's
going to
gotta
cut
go.
this?
I'm just going to
Goodbye. We'll be
All
back
right,
next
we'll be
week.
back next time.
And you're
Thank
going
you.
to stay here, right?